definitely haven't started this video twice before and balls it right up. Hi, hello. I'm ever so slightly flustered. It's really warm. I've got to have the windows open. I'm nervous that it's going to affect the sound. And also Darcy's in the other room playing, so I've got half an ear out on her. The juggle is real. I'm balancing motherhood and work today, but it's an important video because this week on the 29th, which is Thursday, this book will be out. It will be actually in shops. Up until now, it's been pre-orders I've been talking about, and if you watch the video I made with Carrie on Saturday, you'll see why pre-orders are so important, but they are so important. So if you're watching this on Monday, please do pre-order this book. Very quickly, reason being, you know, like in music, there are the pop charts and every singer or group wants to get to #1. There's a similar thing for books. There's the book charts, not charts, charts. Brilliant. And I would really like this to do well in that. You don't get anything for it. You don't get like a treasure chest of gold coins. Oh my god, what's wrong with me today? Or a medal. I wouldn't mind like a plaque or a certificate though, that would be cool. But it's just for like your deep down pride. But now that this is going to be like a tangible thing in bookshops like Waterstones, W.H. Smith, the supermarkets, I wanted to A your cues. You've been asking me on social media, so rather than waffling on, I'll just find those screen grabs and I'll just crack on with it. Just a little bit before I get started on all the questions I'm going to drop in here, although I'm filming this at the end because I forgot. I am going to be doing a lot of signings all around the country with Waterstones. They're not just going to be signings because you know I'm all about the experience, so it will be readings and Q&A, and I'll sign the book, and also we can get pictures and like have a chat and all that sort of stuff. I will leave a link for tickets below. There is a charge for tickets, and that charge includes the price of the book and also refreshments. So if you would like to come and meet me and like talk about it and just like hang out, I would really like that. There are 9 or 10 all across the UK. Great. There's no particular order for these are just as I screen grabbed them. So Katie says, where was your favourite place to write? That is such a good question because it ebbed and flowed. So I think a lot of people would be like, oh, at home in bed is so cozy and comfy. That for me was the worst place to write because I would just end up like having a little snooze. I had so many little snoozes in the first like month where I just couldn't get going with it, or end up like fannying around on the internet and like watching YouTube videos. But the best place to write, it's so cliche, was cafes, because I wouldn't log on to their Wi-Fi, and if I wanted to read something I would have to like hotspot my phone, and I couldn't really watch things because it'd be a bit weird to like watch a YouTube video in a Costa. I suppose you could do it with headphones, but I was like, no, I'm going to just work really hard. So I found places like that. You kind of hold yourself accountable to actually sitting and doing something. So for me, cafes. Brittany says, how long did it take you to finish writing the whole book? October, November, December, January, February, April. 6 months. That's 5, but 6 months. I will be writing another one, and I'm going to take a bit more time on it because 6 months was stressful. Ash says, are there any of #LP storytimes in Wild Like Me? Does Robin have to sort out her little girl setting fire to a restaurant? No, unfortunately not. There's no actual like copy stories because it's a fiction. Obviously I didn't want to just like put everything of my life in this book, but there are a lot of things that I drew from. So that level, that like feeling of utter horror when, yes, Darcy set fire to a table in a restaurant, I like took that feeling and put it into other scenarios. So although not actual my stories, like my LP storytime stories, there are still some really hilarious moments in it. Nina says, do you have a favourite chapter? I have favourite bits of chapters. I think my favourite chapter is the end chapter because lots of things are tied up there, and yeah, stuff happens there a lot. But I do also like one of the middle chapters where Robin goes somewhere. Don't want to give you any spoilers. Ash says, what is Robin's career In the prologue, she says she helped her boss with makeup. So is she a makeup artist? That's a really good question. She starts the book as a makeup artist assistant. Laurie says, do you have any specific writing strategies that you discovered while writing the book that could help other fiction writers? Yes, I do. That's a really good question. So if you are trying to write a book, I would suggest having a plan. Before I started this, I thought that I would just open my laptop and just write chapter 1, once upon a time, and start writing. But actually, I didn't write chronologically. I put all my ideas down and all the chunks and all the bits and all the storylines on post-it notes on this huge long roll of paper. So get like wallpaper, turn it around so it's blank, and then put post-its of all the little scenes on that, and then you can move them all around and work out exactly where they will fit. And then you know what the order is going to be, stick that to your wall. And then what I did, rather than starting with the first one, is I started with the one that like I felt like writing that day and I felt in the mood for writing, because there's some really like deep dark moments of the book where Robin is feeling really very low and very despondent, and I was having some days like that, so I would write those bits whilst I was feeling those feelings. But then also there's some like really high, like where she's just completely elated and joyful and jubilant, and when I was in those sorts of moods I would write those bits. So that is a top tip. Also a more practical tip, well that was quite practical, but an even more practical tip is turn off your Wi-Fi and then you won't be tempted to browse the internet, which is my biggest pitfall. Emma says, are you going to write a second Wild Like Me? And the answer is yes, I am. I'm actually starting writing that in the next week or two. Because I want to get ahead of myself, but yes, I'm really excited to see Robin's story continue. Chloe says, would you ever consider writing a children's book? What age children would you write for? I would absolutely love to write a children's book. I have a 6-year-old now, and I'm pregnant with my second, so I'm not sure what age, but I would really be up for that. Nikita says, advice for aspiring writers that would help pass writer's block on difficult days. I had so much writer's block at the beginning when I couldn't get going and I couldn't get that flow, and for me the trick was just to stop and to shut my laptop and have an entire day not thinking about it, because if you sit there staring at your laptop or staring at your pen and paper like waiting for something to happen, it won't. But if you go out and like give yourself a full brain break, that's really hard to say, then you should be able to like get something going. Good luck. I'm going to end it on this question because I think this is a really worthwhile question to answer. Nicola from Facebook, oh some of these have been Facebook, some of these have been Twitter, says, how much of the book did you have written / planned / prepared before you went to a publisher? Do you think they were more inclined to publish you because of your already dedicated followers? Yes, I think so. I'll start with the first bit. So how I did it is I knew I wanted to write a book about like an honest account of what single motherhood is like and juggling work and all that sort of stuff, because it's something that I do. And I was looking at all these books, like reading all these books and looking for something that fit my life, and nothing did. And although I really enjoyed women's fiction, I was reading a lot of like cool 20-something women who have like a cool job in London and go on dates and have like romantic adventures and stuff like that, and that didn't marry up to my life. So I said about 2 years ago, I really want to write this sort of book. And then Maddie, who's my manager at Gleam, was like, do it then, do it. And I was like, no, I'll never be able to. But she was really encouraging. She's like, yes you can, put together a proposal. So what I did is I put together like this short draft, like summary of the characters, like first of all how I wanted the book to go, and then I did like character profiles of all the people in the book, and like what I thought their journey through the book would be, and like how I wanted them to fit into everything. And then we sent this off to various publishing houses and said, basically, do you want this? Do you want to publish this book? And then some of them got back to us, and then I chose Bonnier, who have just been amazing. And I had the idea in my head, so the idea sort of like this, like just a sort of sphere. And then Ellie, my editor, came to my house one day and we did that post-it thing, and she was like, right, every idea you've got, put it on a post-it, so put it down. And then she sat with me and she was like, why don't you actually change this, put this like at the end of the book, or why don't you change this here? And I was like, yeah, they're like really smart ideas. So it went like that. So although I had the whole idea for it and all the characters, I was helped to like just shape that a tiny bit more into like a more coherent book with a better flow, because I've not written a novel before, so for me the flow of it was the hardest thing. I had this like big idea for a story, but I needed a little bit of help with like how to like sew those bits together. And the second bit of your question was, do you think they were more inclined to publish you because of your already dedicated followers? I think I just have to be honest about this and say yes, I think that they were. There's been a few times actually where I've said to Ellie, when she said, when I sent over the first draft, she was like, Louise, this is so amazing. And I said, you're just saying that because you've signed me now. And she was like, we wouldn't publish a shit book, because don't forget, it's on their head as well. They don't want to publish something rubbish. So that made me, I was like, oh, okay, good. That like restored my confidence when I had a bit of like a wobble about it. But I feel quite vulnerable saying this. It's a bit of a weird thing to say, like on your publication week. The fact hasn't escaped me that I have had an easier ride from concept to book than a lot of people. There are a lot of people in the world that would really like to write a book and have incredible, amazing ideas, and some of them get published and put their ideas into books and go into shops and sell their books, and some people don't. And lots of people are vying for the attention of publishing houses because lots of people are knocking on the door saying, hey, I've got this idea, I'd really like to make it into a book. And I do think that I had that louder voice because I have all of you guys behind me. So publishing houses obviously want to make great books and they're passionate about books, but also they are a business, they're a company, and they have to make money. And to do that they sell books, and if they already know that there's a percentage of people that are already going to buy the book, then they're going to be more inclined. However, I just want to be quite clear, I want this book to not be a YouTuber book. I don't want people to just be like, oh, I bought that because she's my favourite YouTuber, although thanks if that's what you did. I want people to go into a shop and pick this up and have a flick through and be like, oh, this looks good, and not read the back because that's just all the quotes, although read the quotes too because there's some good people on there, but like read the bit about what it's about and have a flick through and really like it, and then take it home and read it and then tell their friends, oh, did you read that book? And I don't want people to go, oh, did you read that book by that YouTuber? I want them to go, did you read that book about Robin Wilde? It was really good, and pass it on and yada yada. And then when the next one comes out, I want everyone to be really excited to see where her story goes after the thing that happens in the book. And although I don't have a contract for any more books, I really also have ideas for how I want like her future to go and like the subsequent books. I want this to be like a long-term thing. I want this to be a huge part of my career and for this to be my gig basically. So yes, Nicola, that was a really good question, and I would imagine that quite a lot of people have thought things like that, because I mean I have, and I'm the one bloody doing it. So I hope that you don't mind that I've been quite honest there, and I hope that the publishers and manager don't mind that I've been quite open with that too. Okay, great. Well, I have gabbled on for a really long time. This is it. This is our week. I hope this goes well. I will be updating social media every day, so make sure that you are keeping it with that. And I would love to see some of you at the Waterstone signings across the country. Alrighty, is there anything else? Yeah, buy the book. Duh, that's the last thing. Buy the book. I'm gonna get that like tattooed on my tits. Buy the book, please. Then as I have this baby and my boobs get bigger and saggy, it's gonna be like, buy the book. We've taken a weird turn. I'm ending this. Speak to you later. Love you lots. Bye.